On today's show, the NHL's youth movement has arrived and it's complicating decisions for the Olympics.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to this Wednesday, November 12th edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Mike DiStefano. You can find me 5 days a week over at Locked On Senators. Mike is with Locked On Maple Leafs. It is always the Battle of Ontario edition here on Wednesdays, and it's brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel. It is the official sports book of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in North America. Mikey, how's it covering the Toronto Maple Leafs these days?
Yeah, it hasn't been fun, Ross. It has not been fun at all. They lost their third straight game in regulation last night to the Boston Bruins. It's 2 losses to the Bruins in their last 3 games, sandwiching a loss to Carolina. It just seems like this team has gone from bad to worse. You know, you can really, really feel the effects of Mitch Marner departing from this club. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It's not offensively. You know, I know it's funny coming into the season. I think a lot of whispers out there about how, you know, this team is going to struggle to score without their 100-point, you know, playmaker, facilitator. Scoring hasn't been the problem. They're 4th or 5th in the league in goals per game. They're 32nd in goals allowed per game. This team can't defend, whether it's the blue line, the forwards. Man, it's ugly right now in Toronto, man. It is an ugly thing to watch.
15 goals against in the last 3 games, 5 in each of them. And did I see Anthony Stolarz left the game with the upper body injury?
He did, yeah. He left the game last night with an upper body injury after the first period. Did not come out for the second. Dennis Hildeby started the rest of the games. Joseph Woll's on a conditioning stint, so he's making his way back. But, yeah, he wasn't on the bench either. So, you know, an injury there. Berube did come out after the game and say he doesn't believe it's expected to be, you know, anything serious for him. Didn't necessarily have the same positive approach with Austin Matthews' injury, who also left the game yesterday in the second period. So you lost your captain, you lost your starting goalie, and you've lost your 3rd game in a row. Things are you got the Road Warrior Kings coming to town on Thursday. Things are not looking pretty right now in Leafland, dude. Not looking pretty at all.
Yeah, and we know that isn't always the most patient fan base. What is everybody calling for right now?
You know, it's interesting. Like, I think there's it's almost apathetic, dude. Like, which is sad. Like, it's not as though people are calling for Berube because I think people are almost looking at this and saying, yeah, what'd you expect? Like, when you decided not to pay Mitch Marner, decided to go in a different direction, and you never replaced him. The replacements were Dakota Joshua, Nicola Waugh, and Matthias Michelli. I mean, those 3 combined for, I think, like 4 goals right now to this point. I think Nick Waugh has one, so maybe 5 goals combined, and they're not doing a whole heck of a lot offensively or defensively either. And that was supposed to be, you know, the 3 guys collectively that were supposed to make up the shortfall of Mitch Marner, and it has not even come close. The blue line has been just absolutely abysmal. You know who right now is kind of the whipping boy, I guess? 2 players, Brandon Carlo, who the Maple Leafs traded a first-round pick and one of their top prospects in Fraser Minton for last year at the deadline. He's been pretty bad so far this season. So Brandon Carlo and Simon Benoit have been kind of the whipping boys in Toronto for their poor play and poor play in the defensive end in particular. So I guess you say, what are they calling for? They're calling for those guys to either step up or take a night in the press box. That's what they're calling for.
Wow. We're not into trade discussions yet.
I mean, yeah, but like what is there to trade? Like, ultimately, yes, I think we talked about this on the Locked On Leafs podcast. The Maple Leafs should probably make a move on the blue line. and get some help, because there seems to be some struggles there. Chris Tanev is injured as well, which isn't helping, which is forcing Carlo up into a role that he's just clearly incapable of fulfilling. They need some help on the blue line, some depth on the right side, especially some defensive depth. So yes, it'd be nice to bring someone in, but who is that, right? Who's out there available on the market? And ultimately, what do the Maple Leafs have to offer? Like, they've absolutely blown their load when it comes to picks and prospects over the years. There's not a whole lot left that they have. Like, do they want to move Easton Cowan and bring in another Brandon Carlo type player? Like, I don't know. It's a team that's kind of stuck in purgatory right now. Like, there's not much they can do. They have to just try and dig deep and get themselves out of whatever funk that they're in. I'm currently looking on FanDuel right now to miss the playoffs. What do you think their odds are to miss the playoffs?
Plus 250.
Minus 105.
No way. Vegas thinks it's more likely than not that the Toronto Maple Leafs miss the playoffs.
No. Yes. They think it's more likely than not that they miss the playoffs. Correct. So Ottawa plus 105, Toronto minus 105. So
but
as
Ottawa's
today,
looking for defensemen as well, but for other reasons. With Thomas Chabot being injured now, they're going to be without their two longest serving players, with Brady Tkachuk still out with that thumb injury. So they're grinding away. The only difference right now between Ottawa and Toronto is overtimes. It feels like Ottawa's have trouble keeping the puck out of their net as well, but they're finding ways to get a point. They actually only have one regulation loss in the last 11 games, all without their captain, but they've also got 4 overtime losses and some of those missed opportunities. Montreal tied it late and then won in overtime. Dallas came back from down 2-0 tied in the third and win in overtime. So the vibe, I think, is probably fairly similar between Sens and Leafs fans right now. I also think that both our fan bases still have a bit of the World Series blues right now, and nothing can match what they saw with the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, there's a big thing on Sens social media right now in the fan base where it's like, it feels boring. It feels not the same. It's like, well, you just watched the Jays go to the World Series.
Well, it's interesting. I'm looking right now in the league. 4 of the top 6 teams and goals against per game are Canadian. You got the Maple Leafs, who've allowed the most goals against per game at 3.82. Then Ottawa 4th, Vancouver 5th, Edmonton 6th. So 4 of your top 6 teams in goals against this season, Canadian teams. So just something interesting to note there. But yeah, man, the difference I think between the Maple Leafs and the Senators is like just the expectations, right? Like the Senators, they're hoping that they can continue to build off of last year. They finally made the playoffs. Can they continue to build? Whereas the Maple Leafs, it's like, okay, we need to have success. The window's closing for Toronto, or for Ottawa, it just finally opened last year. So I think you look at the Leafs, it's like, man, they can't afford to have a season like this. And they also don't have their first round pick at the same time. So it's a team that's teetering on the playoffs. They don't have their first round pick. They don't have any prospects. And it's one of the oldest teams in the league, only getting older by the day. So it's a real concern, man. The concernometer in Toronto is sky high right now. And it's not going to get any easier with the Kings coming to town. Their road record is the best in the NHL. Connor Bedard has been red hot. And the Chicago Blackhawks, they're coming to town as well. The game after that, and it's going to be a difficult, kind of week here for Toronto, and the injuries really starting to pile up. Poor play, game after game, giving up 30+ shots a night. It's tough sledding right now for the Maple Leafs.
God, it's another difference. Ottawa is doing a pretty good job of not giving up shots. They just haven't been able to get a ton of saves this season. Linus Ullmark's stats are just not good at all. Still dead last in goals saved above expected this season, and is coming off his best game of the season, though, against Dallas. So we'll see if Ontario can figure it out. And I feel weird saying that because Ottawa's finding ways to get points, but it doesn't feel like a confidence-building way that they're doing it.
So the Leafs have lost 3 in a row here. In those 3 losses, they have a 54% penalty kill, and they're allowing 39.3 shots per game.
Wow.
So has not been good.
No, not at all. You know what has been good, though, is the kids. Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, and a whole lot more. How about Cutter Gauthier, what he's doing down in Anaheim right now?
In Anaheim. Cutter and Leo together, the two of them killing it right now.
We'll get into it deeper, and the decision is already difficult, but now Team Canada has to think, what about Bedard and Celebrini? How do you keep these guys off? Nick Suzuki wasn't at Four Nations. Mark Scheifele wasn't at Four Nations. Tough decisions ahead. We'll get into them next. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Right now, Drip Drop is offering our podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Just go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. That's dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Welcome back, Locked On NHL, your team every day, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in North America. Mikey, we got breaking news. Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk are going to be hosting a weekly podcast. I think this might be the first active NHL players to jump into a world that NBA and NFL players have taken part in the last couple of years.
So it's the Kelsey brothers on ice, essentially.
It's the same network that show is on.
The Believe Network? Is that what it is there? I don't know what network it is. Wave Network. Either way, hey, that's good, man. That's good for the sport. You know, like those are two good personalities. They're brothers. You know, they can jab at each other and have some fun. I think they announced it on the Pat McAfee show, if I'm not mistaken. Is that where that big announcement came from?
Yeah, and we know the Tkachuk brothers. They're loved by Team USA fans as well as Senators and Panthers fans. Maybe not by other team fan bases in the NHL. The top comment says, "Sweet, that'll make me Tkachuk my AirPods in the garbage."
That's a good one. That's a really good. That's a good tweet. That's a good one. But that's good for hockey. I mean, anytime you can get a couple of big personalities of the game, talking about what's happening on a weekly basis within the sport, give hockey a big national platform. That'll be big. And, I imagine as they do that, they'll become more comfortable speaking and they'll probably get onto, national networks more often. You'll see them on, TSN, Sportsnet, obviously ESPN down in the States more often. Continue to grow the game. And, Tkachuk, obviously everyone knows both Tkachuks, but I think Matt Tkachuk has really grown and made himself into a big-time personality in the hockey world based off of, going to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, winning 2 in a row, being a big part of what's happening, the culture shift in Florida. So that's big for the sport of hockey, I think.
And it's also going to be really cool to follow that journey through the Olympics where both players are already named to Team USA and they'll take part.
So are we colleagues with the Tkachuks now? Are we called like podcast colleagues?
Well, I'm waiting for Brady to reach out for tips. I mean, we're 1,800 episodes in, so if he needs anything, I mean, we hooked up with some steaks from Farm to Fork, our great sponsors over at Locked On Senators when he was injured. So I said at the time, hey, if he re-signs, we get to say that we helped. But Brady's a beauty, really good guy. I'm excited to see his personality out there more. He's been doing it like that. 4 Nations for him was the real coming out party, but he's been that same guy since day one development camp when he got to Ottawa, always going above and beyond for the fans, the community, and he's just a 10 out of 10 guy. So that'll be really cool to listen to, and can't wait to hear the episode after they lose to Canada in the final at the Olympics.
Yes, absolutely. That'll be fun to listen to.
Who's going to be on that Team Canada? How many kids under 23 years old?
Man, it's It's interesting. I don't think either of us had Celebrini or Bedard on our team when we did it in the summer. I think Celebrini was like a consideration, but I think Bedsy not as much. Now, man, like I think for sure Celebrini's made his way onto the team. I'm ready to kind of put my stamp down and say, hey, Celebrini, welcome to Team Canada. Go out. You can feel comfortable buying Celebrini Team Canada jerseys, whatever you think of the jerseys. Bedsy's the one where I think a conversation still is to be had. And it's only because the difference between the two, obviously, is like Celebrini is a much more complete player and he can play in all situations. Where Bedard's a guy who you want to give you some offense in a close game, someone who you could throw out there on the power play or throw out there down, maybe 3-2, and you need to have someone who can rip it under the bar, in an instant where there's not a whole lot of time and space out there. Bedard can give you that. So, but there's lots of players on Team Canada who would be able to give you that, right? Nate McKinnon, to Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, a couple guys just to name a few. But I think Celebrini for sure, I think is going to be on Team Canada if he continues to put up the numbers he's put up on a nightly basis here with San Jose. And Bedsy's pretty close, man. Like if he's on it, won't surprise me. If he's off it, probably also wouldn't surprise me. But if they both continue to play the way that they have to start the season, we got Celebrini, 26 points in 17 games, Bedard, 25 points in 16 games. Like the breakouts here for these two. They continue this for another month until they make or 6 weeks or so until they make the announcement. It'll be very difficult to leave either of them off this list.
They both have more points than Connor McDavid this season. Like that's the perspective that you need. It's been incredible to watch their growth. I'm with you that Celebrini can put into a more sheltered role where he can do other things, I think, a bit better. But man, the game-breaking quality that Connor Bedard has is something that just feels wild to leave off. And with international hockey fully back, you got the World Cup in 2028, Olympics again in 2030. I think we might see more of that. Hey, they're going to be the leaders of this program for the next 2 decades. Even if they don't play, why wouldn't they be on the full roster going over there to get the experience? And then 8 years from now, when they're back at the Olympics again, they can say, man, I learned so much from Sidney Crosby and those guys that have been in the Olympics in the past and can share that wisdom. Like, I think it would be invaluable for those two because we saw it at the World Championships, right? Celebrini and Crosby over there together and working on their craft and all. Like, that's so cool. And I think that handoff from one generation to the next should play a role in the thought process for Team Canada.
Yeah. Maybe you look at the production, like at even strength. Macklin Celebrini, 4th in points at even strength. Bedard, 6th in points this season at even strength. So 5th. Him and Tavares are tied for 5th, actually. So, I mean, they're getting it done even at 5-on-5. So it's not like they're picking up power play cookies left, right, and center either. So, yeah, if they continue to play this way, it would be very difficult to stomach leaving either of them off the roster, I think. But it's unbelievable, man. Like, to see these kids really start to come through, hockey's going to be in a good spot for a while. As, the McDavid, Ovechkin era kind of starts to wane and come to an end. You've got these new, young superstars really starting to flourish. Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini. Leo Carlson's another guy who
he might be in Sweden. He might be their top center.
I think he is, dude. Like, this guy is, as much as, I'm in love with what's happening, with Celebrini and Bedard, I think I'm most surprised by what we're seeing at a Leo Carlson this season. I mean, the guy's putting up 2 points a night, seemingly every single time he touches the ice. Like, he's been unbelievable. He's got, 6 goals? Yeah, 6 goals his last 4 games. Like, the guy's just scoring each and every night. Joel Quenneville has unlocked something with this team and something with that kid in particular. He's 20 years old, 21 years old, playing this way. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I guess Americans probably asking, will Cutter Gauthier be on Team USA?
Yeah, I think he's another kid who's, coming out on fire. 11 goals through 16 games. Like, where did that come from out of Cutter Gauthier? Like, not that the B word was being labeled on him, but he's a former top 5 pick. He would, requested a trade out of Philly. things didn't go very well last year in his first season in Anaheim. So I think it was like, okay, he's going to be a top 6 NHLer. Maybe that's what he turns out to be, which nothing wrong with that. Be a 20 to 25 goal scorer and whatever. I mean, 11 goals in 16 games, like you're on pace to hit like 50 at that point once you're into that mix. Now, is it going to slow down? Probably at some point. But heck, man, like if you're the Team USA, I think now he is on the radar. He was not at the beginning of the season. Definitely not. Wasn't invited to the camp, if I'm not mistaken. But now, I mean, again, another difficult decision to be made if you're Team USA, leaving a prolific goal scorer like that off your roster.
And one other thing that's taught me this NHL season is you have to tank to be at the top. If you look at the top 10 scorers in the NHL right now, if you base it off draft position, we'll start at the top. Nathan McKinnon, first overall. Leo Carlsson, second overall. Macklin Celebrini, first overall. Connor Bedard, first overall. Connor McDavid, first overall. William Nylander, 8th overall. Mikko Rantanen, 10th overall. Cale Makar, 4th. And then David Pastrnak was a late first-round pick. And then Jack Eichel, 2nd overall. Yeah. If you're first, that's a lot of first and second overall picks in the top 10 score.
Yeah, that is. I mean, was it McDavid or Nylander, Rantanen, and Pastrnak? The only non-top 5 picks in the top 10 in scoring right now. So, and then you got to hit. You got to hit on those picks. Like, there's a couple guys who aren't there who've gone in the top 5, who've done nothing in their careers and haven't really done a whole lot.
Morgan Riley?
I mean, sure. We're going back 12 years here.
I just thought top 5 pick.
I mean, he's the best player from that top 5 draft class. But anyways.
Whoa, were you looking for Austin Matthews?
I mean, Austin Matthews, where's he at on this list? He's struggling right now. I mean, Alexis Lafreniere, nowhere to be seen here.
Jack Hughes was having a good start, but they're not top 10.
Yeah, Capo Caco, where's that guy at? Nowhere to be seen.
He ain't there.
Nowhere to be seen, right?
No.
So yeah, like it's, of course, drafting, developing is absolutely the key to winning in the modern day NHL. I think it's the key to winning any type of cap. When you got a hard cap, you got to draft, develop players. You got to bring those guys back. And there's a lot of bright futures, in the NHL. You look at San Jose, they're having a good season. Chicago, good season. Anaheim's been the biggest surprise. I'm curious. Last week when we were talking about Anaheim and how well that they were playing, bit of a surprise of the season, early season. When I took a look at Coach of the Year, Joel Quenneville was plus 1,000. And I went and I placed a wager on that because I thought that's insane to be plus 1,000. He was like 4th or 5th in the rankings. 1 week later, he's now first in betting odds to win the Jack Adams at plus 330. So people are starting to see what's going on in Anaheim and respect what Joel Quenneville's been able to do over there.
Yeah, it's incredible. And with San Jose, too, like obviously they have a bright future, but for them to be doing what they're doing right now is incredible. And you look, and their goaltending hasn't even been that good either. Like they've been really, really scoring a ton of goals. Like, do you think, obviously he's hurt right now, but let's say he was healthy. Do you think there'd be any regret to them moving Mackenzie Blackwood? Because like, where would they be right now if they had him? Moot point.
Yes and no, yeah, like moot point doesn't really matter. Like I think they view Askarov as their goalie of the future.
Totally.
So like I mean they did it so that they could get him some playing time. But yeah, they won 4 in a row here. Like this is a team that's rolling. They're in a playoff spot right now. Them and Chicago both in a playoff spot. As we sit here on November 12th, like we're getting to that point where it's there's enough. Was it American Thanksgiving's kind of like the barometer where you could say, okay, your team's good or bad. If these two teams continue to tick the way that they have for another couple weeks, you're at that point where it's like, hey, San Jose, Chicago, they've arrived. They're part of the playoff mix now.
And Askarov's been incredible his last 4 games, a .963 save percentage in his last 4 games. He really struggled out of the gate. He only had 1 good game out of his first 6, an .844 save percentage, but he's turned it around, and that's another reason why San Jose is where they are at.
So to answer the question, no, I don't think they regret moving Mackenzie Blackwood.
No, I hadn't looked into the numbers on Askarov yet. Just saw the overall 890 save percentage. But yeah, that's incredible that he's been able to turn it around. So you look at the youth movement, which is pretty much San Jose, Anaheim leading the charge, Chicago in the mix there as well. But which guys are the 3 stars of the week, the midweek edition? Next, you're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day.
The NHL is back. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the Locked On Network. Even if you find, or if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel's live bets on everything from who's going to score the next goal to third period comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the Locked On Network.
Welcome back, Locked On NHL, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in North America. The 3 stars of the week, starting at number 3.
Yeah, I got Leo Carlsson starting at number 3, and this is 2 weeks in a row that Leo's been on our 3 stars of the week. So what does that tell you for the season that he's having? But 4 games, 6 goals, 8 points. I mean, the team is absolutely rolling right now. He continues to put the puck in the back of the net, so Leo Carlsson gets my 3rd star.
All right, let's just do a team 3 stars because we don't want to be too many, right? 6 stars of the week. Basically, you tie your skates, you can be a star of the week.
I mean, I have a feeling that we'll be very in lockstep with these 3 stars anyways.
Yeah, so I think so too. I'm going with Miro Heiskanen as my 2nd star, and it's not just the points. I got to watch his entire game last night playing Ottawa. That guy is so dominant every shift, whether he has the puck or not. He can beat you off the rush. He can defend you off the rush. In zone, gets the net front cleared, and he puts pucks on net. He finished the week incredible. 10 assists in 4 games.
I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league on both sides of the ice. Like he might be the best 200-foot defenseman in the NHL. Like he legitimately could be in that mix right there with the best of them. So yeah, Miro Heiskanen, unbelievable week. That Dallas team's a wagon. That Dallas Colorado, man. Like it's going to be an absolute dogfight to see who comes out on top in that division race. But Miro Heiskanen deserves a lot of love for the season, the week, and the career that he's had. Really, one of the more underrated players, in my opinion.
And the 1st star of the week is?
Yeah, it's Nathan MacKinnon. I mean, what more can you... 12 points in 3 games? I mean, the guy's an animal. An absolute animal. Like, he just goes out there, takes the puck to the net, shoots it on goal, and just gets it. Like, I'm running out of words to describe how great of a player Nathan MacKinnon is. He's just so dominant when he's out there. Like, he gets the puck on his stick and he just absolutely rifles it on net. And he's got his team moving in the right direction. Yeah, it was 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points in 3 games. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do. So yeah, Nate the Great, #1 in points on the week, #1 in points in the league. #1 star for us.
And on the #1 team, the Colorado Avalanche had a bit of a downturn at the 7-game mark where they went 0-1-3, no wins during a 4-game stretch. But since then, they've been just dominant. 8-4 win over New Jersey. They're beating good teams along the way too. Like
the outside of those losses, right? They had that 4-game stretch. They went 0-1-3. They've won every other game. Every other game.
Shootout loss, OT loss to San Jose was the only other blemish.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. But outside of that, they won every other game.
And they're not just winning. Like, they've scored 35 goals in their last 7 games, and they've allowed 17. Now, you might say that 9-1 win over the Stanley Cup finalist, Edmonton Oilers.
Statement.
That's not their only big win. Like, 8 goals against the Devils, like, that's a good hockey team too. Doubling up Vegas, beating Tampa, beating Vancouver in overtime, and the Anaheim Ducks in their most recent game, 4-1 the score there. Like, obviously, McKinnon's a huge part of it. He's got 9 even strength points in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
But he's incredible. So very well-deserved first star of the week. For more on McKinnon's brilliance, go check out Locked On Avalanche, and another guy who's already been named to the Olympic team. So you just look, and this is just an embarrassment of riches that's going over to Italy. This hockey is going to be incredible.
Oh, yeah.
As long as the building's ready. Apparently the NHL is going over there this week to make sure that construction's on time.
I know. And I heard that like in the summer, Pierre LeBrun, or at the beginning of the season, like mid-September, talking about how that is a slight concern. And here we are almost 2 months later, actually, and it's still, it's no longer a slight concern. It's a concern now. So we'll find out what's going on when it comes to, I do wonder though, like if this rink isn't ready to go, are they going to have to play on it like an international ice surface then?
Why don't they just play in the mountains?
Like just set up a rink in the mountains in
Outdoor,
Milano?
Old school. Bring it back to
That'd be
1918.
That'd be sick. If they did that, that would be epic. I don't see it happening, but that'd be something, dude. That would be something.
So sick. Man.
Hockey's
so back. Like what a league. Every night there's so much talent.
Oh, I know.
Fires me up.
It's in a good spot, dude. Hockey's in a really good spot. Just looking too, the Avalanche plus 25 goal differential, next best team plus 14. So they have an 11 goal gap on the next best in the league, and that's Carolina and Anaheim. 11 goal gap in goal differential. We're almost 17 games into the season. Like, just stupid stuff. One regulation loss all season.
Yeah.
Team's a wagon.
Lots of overtime this year, hey?
Yeah. There's been a lot of free hockey out there. I say chalk that up to parity, man. Lots of parity in the league.
Lots of overtimes. It's wild.
Sure.
Like Colorado and Seattle both have 5 overtime losses, and there's a number of teams. 7 teams have 4. That's 9 teams with 4 or more overtime losses, not even total games played in overtime. So we'll see if that trend continues.
Every team except Utah and Winnipeg and Detroit have an OT loss, and Carolina and Boston.
Wow. Yeah, there's 5 teams that one.
Yeah.
But that still feels very low for this this time of year. So we'll see if that trend continues. One thing we can tell you for sure, we'll be back next Wednesday. But for now, we'll hand it over to Thursday's edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. And don't forget about our bonus Locked On NHL game night, available wherever you get your podcast on the same feed as you get Locked On NHL. For Mike DiStefano from Locked On Maple Leafs, I'm Ross Levitan from Locked On Senators. And this has been your Wednesday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, your team every day.